Hey makers, this is Dravin, and first of all, very warm welcome you to my new segment, the Digital Dravin Show, where we are talking about the different tech things into low code, no code Power Platform space. So we had our first session around 2 weeks back for creating the chat application, and at the time, Sushil has joined us, and he built and he taught us like amazing way to build the chess application. And the main thing you learn from that session is out specifically how with out of the box component and how with the power fx you can build the amazing application for yourself. Now we are going to the second part of the same series where we are going to build the multi chess application, multiplayer application, and for that we are going to do couple of technology stacks to be included into low code no code power platform. And specifically we will talk about the SignalR integration and some other components into this particular session. All the session links as well as recording, and if you haven't watched the previous episode, all the links are available in the description box. You can check it out. So now without me talking more, let me just welcome Sushil on the show. Hi Sushil.
Hi Dhruvinji, how are you?
I'm absolutely well. And first of all, thank you so much for joining for the second session. And first session is very well and nicely executed, and people love it. I can see so much thumbs up along with that, so much traction on the first video, and people are really looking for the second part. So yeah, I mean, what we are going to learn in today's session, if you just highlight me on that, that would be great.
Sure. And yeah, always like it's been great and it's really good experience, coming here back and discussing more about it. So in this video, we are going a little bit, little bit more complex. And I would say we are leaving the realm of low code and we are going into some pro code. But I will not say this is like, oh, you have to write tons and tons of code. It's just, it's just with very minimal code which we have written in TypeScript and some JavaScript in order to do this Azure SignalR and PCF. So if I have to summarize what we are going to learn today is like to, how to build a multiplayer game in Power Apps. But if you see in terms of game, it's just, multiplayer, which obviously no one is going to build multiplayer games in Power Apps other than just for fun and learning. But if you see the real-time use case, you'll really learn how to use WebSockets and SignalR where the real-time communication is there and people can interact without any delay. A classic example would be maybe, you're building some app for any emergency services where you can't even expect a delay of 1 second or whatnot, so that, you are saving a record and you have to click refresh or somewhere to see the, updated data. In those scenarios where the actions needs to be real, not near real time, there this kind of web sockets in your Power App will really help you. Maybe I can think field service, or in some emergency case apps or something like that. Yeah, but technically speaking, today we are going to learn how to go ahead and configure your service, your Azure function and your PCF, and how to iterate all of them into your Canvas app so that you can smoothly make it work, between two different apps like real-time communication.
That's really great. I mean, this is something like integrated everything for in the PowerApps for the. I'm looking personally at the very first time, so I'm literally very excited to see this thing from you. And of course, for our audience, like okay, by looking at this use case, if you think that okay, you have some other use case in your mind similar to this kind of feature set, and by using this kind of technology, maybe just tell me us in the comment section that okay, what else you can think using this particular use cases, and we'll try to build, or maybe if someone is building, let us know as well. Okay, so without further delay, Sushil, I would like to hand over the stage to you and proceed for your second episode for multiplayer chess application.
So thank you, Dhruvin. I'm sharing my screen. Yes.
Yeah, I can
Yep.
see your screen. Perfect.
Cool. So yeah, as you can see, Power Sushi Chess multiplayer. So now let's see. Okay, what is SignalR? So SignalR is a service provided in, in your Azure stack, where you can go ahead and just it's just configuration. If I have to say, you don't need to code anything in order to uh, you know in order to create a SignalR. So, but what is a SignalR? As you can see, it's a real-time communication library by Microsoft, enabled by the bidirectional communication. Like as I said, real-time communication selects the best transports. Either it can be WebSockets, SSC, or long polling. Supports automatic reconnection, scalability, and stuff like that. So generally, as you can see, this is used in chat apps, live dashboards, collaborative editing, and real-time notifications. So these are some of the use cases, and as you know, we have used it to just do the multiplayer thing between one player and the other player. So if I go to the architecture of how we have built this, so imagine you have different Canvas apps open in different browsers. So every Canvas app has a PCF here. So the PCF, in order to send a message, will use a Azure function in between. So it will call the Azure function. Azure function will send a message to SignalR, and this PCF will be listening to the receiving messages. So for example, if the first PCF first PCF in a Canvas app, like the, let's say, 123, if the first PCF sends a message called like sushi through Azure function, so the second and the third, even the first one will all be listening to that SignalR messages, and they will each receive sushi, 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 sushi. So that's how the real-time communication happens. So as soon as someone sends a message, or the second one sends a message, in the near real time, as they are all constantly listening to messages in in terms of like nanoseconds to seconds intervals, they would be receiving, okay, if the second one sends any message, the first one, third one, and the second one, everybody will get the receiving message as quickly as possible. So that's it. That's the architecture. So we have to. I will go into the Azure side of the things. I'll show you how to set up a signaler, then how to set up a Azure function, and then we'll see the code in PCF, and then we'll discuss like how we have done all together, like how we have integrated all of them together. So if I just go into the Azure side of the things, as I said, right, creating a signaler is nothing but configuration. You just have to go, you have to search SignalR, and you can just start creating pretty much you can keep all of them default in this case, and you can just keep on going. And as you can see, I used a free tier one because it is more than enough in my case. But the most important thing which you have to do after you create a signal is you have to go to settings, and you have to change it from default to serverless. So this is one of the most important settings, guys, which you have to do in order for this to work. So once you make from the default to serverless, and you save it, you go to the connection strings, and you have to copy the connection strings. So that so this is all we need to do in order to create a signaler connection. That's it. So once you create the SignalR connection, what you are supposed to do, you have to go ahead and create a Azure function. So you may be asking, why do I need to create a Azure function? Again, I have SignalR. Why can't I send the messages to SignalR and receive messages to SignalR? See, Azure function works kind of a door to your Azure, to your SignalR. You Your Azure SignalR is a very big damn thing. It's always constantly or it always takes in the messages, and it always sends out the messages. So you need some medium in order to send the messages in and to receive the messages out. So one signaler, you can create n number of Azure functions on top of it, and you can play around with, like, okay, one Azure function is sending altogether is used being used to send altogether different messages, and another Azure function is used to send and receive altogether a different messages. Like you can create different Azure functions on a single signaler for different functionalities. You can encapsulate them, if I use a better word. So, okay, how do I do that? Like, it's pretty simple, guys. You just have to go and create a Azure function in the first place. I use JavaScript, and I pretty much created the functions directly here. But if it's up to you, if you want to do it from your Visual Studio or Visual Studio Code, you're good to do so. And I have created two functions, as you can see, negotiate and send message. Again, this code is not at all, custom or whatever. In order to make the signaler work, this is the standard code. You can just copy this code, which I'm going to show you in the screen, and you can even, I think, in the description box later on we'll update. You can take the same code with the same config. It will work as it is, because this is the standard code for the Azure function in order to make the SignalR work. As simple as that. So if I go to negotiate, so this function is used. So let's say if somebody, if a if a client wants to know the SignalR information, then I will call the function, and it's kind of a negotiating function. So if I call this function, I will know the SignalR details. But do you have to know what has been written? As you can see, if you know JavaScript, it's just a simple code that I have some exports, and all I'm doing is like I'm sending back the connection info to whomsoever who is calling this. But do I need to know this, or do I have to change anything in this for you to work? No, you can just simply copy and paste this, and then you can call this function in order to get the signal and information. But the main thing here which you need to do is in the integration piece, where you need to tell kind of like what is the input. Like input is the signal or connection info. So how do you create this? You have to copy the connection string from the signaler, which for obvious security reasons I'm not going to show you, but it's there, it's directly there in your signaler here. You can copy the data connection string, and you come here, you click new, and you create a new signaler service connection. Once you do that, this is the hub name, and this is I just called it a chat because uh, as you know, I just randomly named it chat, but you can name the hub whatever you want. But yeah, you give the connection info parameter name and signal or service connection. All that you need to dynamically do in this case, apart from changing anything, is going there, picking up that connection string, and creating a new signal or service connection. So once that is done, in the outputs, I'm not doing anything. It still stays the same. So now comes the main function which we are going to deal the things with, that is send message. So as I was showing in the architecture, that PCF through in from the PCF, we are sending the message through Azure function. So this is the main function, guys. So where again, if you see, all we are doing is we are making a call to the signaler by sending the message whatever we are getting in the input body, and that's all we are doing. As you can see, we are taking the request body, and we are just sending it to the signaler. Again, it's standard code. You don't need to change anything. This is the same code. You can copy paste it. But one thing which you have to make sure that you have done properly is the integration part, where the output goes to signaler. Obviously, we are calling. We are sending it to where we are sending it. To signaler. Obviously, that's why it is called a signaler message. And as you can see, there's the parameter which we are passing, and hub name I again kept it as chat, but if you want, you can rename it to anything else. And same thing, if you would have created already signaler service connection earlier, it stays the same. So once you do these activities, one more very important configuration which you have to make in the Azure service, sorry, in your Azure function, is you have to open cores, and you have to give all the URLs where you want this to work. So for example, as you can see, I have given like bunch of URLs where I feel this should work. If you don't give this course, then it will not work, guys. So make sure whichever URLs you want to work, make it work. You have to copy those URLs, and you have to paste it here in order for the cross origin resource sharing to work. Otherwise, it'll give you a CORS error or something like that. So yeah, once you're done, once you have the function app ready, I mean the Azure function ready, and once your SignalR service is ready, uh, all you need to do is you just have to go into send message, and you can copy the function URL. That's all we need. So you can copy the function URL, which will be coming up in just a second. So you just have to copy this. Why, I'll let you know. So we are if you do all these activities, we are done. We are done on the Azure end. You don't need to worry about anything. No need to worry about anything else. We have all the things which we need to do in the Azure side. So once the Azure side of the things is done, now comes the PCF part. Again, guys, this is a very, very simple.
Sushil,
Yeah,
here I just do have one quick question. If you just open your send message, I just want to explore
sure,
here the integration part that we have here.
sure.
If you click on integration, so I just want to understand here one thing, like, is it something that you created from scratch, or is it something
No,
which
no.
is
Sorry to interrupt you there.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
my only question is it out of the box, it created automatically, or is something that we need to create separate this out? It's looking like a flow kind of thing.
Yeah. Pretty much mostly everything would be there. All you need to do is
Okay.
like on the output end, you just need to click on add output and you
Hmm.
have to say
Okay.
like, okay, what is that which you want to connect? For example, I'll say SignalR. And then
Hmm.
if you obviously when you come here for the first time, you will not have that SignalR connection string. So you have
Hmm.
to create that SignalR connection string by collecting the data,
Yep.
the data key and values and stuff like that from,
Perfect.
your thing. But once that is connected, you just select it and give the SignalR parameter which you are going to use and the hub name. That's it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Perfect. Perfect.
yeah.
Thank you so much. It gives the clarity, and
No
now you can
worries.
proceed further. Perfect.
Sure, sure. Yeah. So yeah, if we go into the PCFN, if you see the code, uh, if I show you the control manifest, all I'm asking you here is to give me the SignalR connection URL, which is basically actually the API which you copied. We just have to give the function URL. You don't need you don't need to give the SignalR connection. It has nothing to do with SignalR, but yeah, basically what I mean is like you have to just copy the Azure function API and we have to pass it in the canvas app, which I would be showing in some time. And as you can see, I have an input parameter called as send message and an output parameter called as received message. So I'm only playing with three parameters, but you can have multiple things if you multiple output parameters if you want to really dissect the information in the form of a JSON or whatever. If you want to structure it well, you can have multiple output parameters and you can send it. But in this scenario, all I'm doing is I want just a string and I'm dissecting it in the Canvas app. So that's why I only have like send message and received message. But yeah, so these two are my input variables and this would be my output from my PCF. And if I go into the TypeScript, as you can see, this is pretty much a very short piece of code, and you can copy and paste the same code and it'll work flawlessly. But as I said, if you have any improvements to make in your received message, you can do so, and you can work on you can make those adjustments and you can work on it. But what is the major things? I'm importing the SignalR thing here, and if I go, the major thing, if you will see here, I'm first opening the connection here. So one second. Let me just show you. So how do I open the connection? It's simply the from the SignalR function which I just imported from the top, and you have to this is standard code which I will not pinpoint each and every line and explain, but pretty much this is the standard code which you need to write in order to connect to the SignalR. But the real magic is happening when we are sending the message. So if you see the send message part, we are getting the message from the from the PCF, like whatever which I suppose which I have to which I have to send, and I'm calling this HTTP call, which is not it is doing nothing but it is just making a post request to the SignalR connection URL, which is not, that this SignalR connection URL is being passed as an input parameter. So this is dynamic in nature. So all we are doing is we are taking that, we are calling the send message, and we are sending whatever the message, send message which you want to send to the signaler. And you have something called as process new message, which is like, okay, as I said, the connection would be constantly listening to messages, and whenever it gets a new message, it will call this function, which basically not, it does nothing but it'll set my received message parameter, and it'll call the notified output changed function in order to send that received message back in the PCF. So if I just have to summarize, guys, as you can see here, once you make the connection, we are always listening for new message, and when a new message happens, we are calling this function, which is like a custom function which we have written. And what what it does is basically whatever the message it received, it will send back to the PCF. And the other part of the function is whenever we are updating the sent message thing in the PCF, it will call the HTTP. It will call that Azure function send message thing in order to send the message to SignalR. So from this we are sending the message, and from this function we are receiving the message, and we are listening and receiving the message. Basically that's it. No, nothing more, nothing less. This is very simple code. Now what you do with the message which you have received, if you want to dissect it more and if you want to do more things like create a proper object and and send it like that, you can do so. But in this scenario, I'm sending a string and I'm receiving a string. So as simple as that. So once this PCF is created, you are done. We are done with all the code stuff. So as I told, in the SignalR or in the Azure function which we have written, you don't need to change any piece of code. You can just copy and paste it. Even here, if you feel that okay, I'm also doing, I'm also sending a message and I'm also sending, I'm also sending a string and receiving a string. That's all I need. You can copy the same code and paste it, and you can take the new. I mean, obviously in the PCF, I'll show where you can configure the Azure function URL. You just have to put your Azure function URL and it will work flawlessly. But some more validations I have kept, that I don't want to send repeating messages because I didn't want it to like send duplicate messages. So if the message has been sent already, I was putting that into an array, and I was checking if it is already there, don't do it. If it is not there, then only send it. As you can see here, I have some checks and balances that only unique messages go into the next next into the next app or something like that. So anyway, our this is the PCF code, and yeah, obviously we'll give you the PCF code. You can just use the same thing. Um, yeah.
Yep.
So
Here, I would
mhm,
like to pause for one more
sure.
moment, Sushil. So, I just would like to tell everyone that, okay, it's fine if you don't know PCF, okay? Because I know many of you are coming from low code, no code side. So probably this Visual Studio, it just look like a scary for you, but don't worry about that. It just like at the end product, it will be like final PCF component will be there. And as Sushil mentioned, you can directly use that. Even you don't need to open the Visual Studio. That link is available in the description box. You can check it out, and probably import process definitely social will show in the next half. But of course you can simply plug and play. But those who are really interested that okay how it is built and all, for them this is really helpful. Otherwise you can just skip this part and directly just use this component after you build your Azure function. Okay. Yep. So sorry, proceed,
No
Sushil.
worries, Swin. Cool. So, okay, we are done with almost all of the stuff which we have to do in terms of config. Now we go back into the realm of our favorite Canvas app. So what do you do first? So obviously in order to bring the PCF first, you have to enable that in your admin.powerplatform.microsoft.com. You have to go to that environment and you have to enable the code components, which you can Google and you can easily find out if you haven't done already. But once you do, all you need to do is you can click on plus, and you can click on this folder, magnifying glass kind of a thing. And yeah, and once you enable all the right things, you can see code on top of it, and you can search the PCF which you have built. Like as you can see, I've done the SignalR connector and stuff like that, and you just import that into your Canvas app. But yeah, if you are interested in more like how to send this SignalR, sorry, how to build your PCF into a solution and all, you can pretty much find the documentation in docs.microsoft.com. But yeah, once you build the PCF, it becomes a solution. You import the solution, that becomes a custom control, and then you have to enable that code components in admin.microsoft.com. Once you do that, that's how you add your PCF into your Canvas app. And once you add that, here you will see a new thing called as code component, where you will just click on it and it will be added into whichever screen you want. So now if I go into the play online thing, right? And as you can see here, I have my component here, like the SignalR component already here. And it's just hidden obviously because I didn't develop any front end UI part to it. It's all backend, so there will be nothing to see. But yeah, just a component like that. And as you can see, the main thing is the SignalR connection URL. As I said, once you copy your Azure function URL of the send message or something like that, you have to paste it until slash API. So as I said, this is configurable. You just if you are doing this on your own in your Azure, you just copy your Azure function app URL and you just paste it here. So that's it. And then what you send in the message, and it's up to you according to your functionality. You can send whatever you want to send. In this scenario, first to match the players to to match like to a white user player and a black user player, I'm using the signaler here. So how am I doing this? As you can see, I'm sending a global variable as a send message. And on change, why on change? Because I have a parameter called as received message in my PCF, that is an output. So whenever my output changes, my on change will trigger, and I'm doing all the functionality, all the code which I have to do here. So how I have developed this is, as you can see here, so if, let's say, if two players want to play simultaneously, they have to have multiplayer code, a unique code between themselves that they will share. Then you can enter your names and then you can go into a game, because at a single point of time even 10 canvas apps or 20 canvas apps can open. How would the system will determine, okay, these two players are playing the same game, and these two players are playing the same game? I have resolved that issue by by a 4-digit unique code or a random generated code that goes on every time. And if I have to show you how does that work, so as you can see here, as soon as I click on this, white icon, I can see a code kind of a thing here. So let me just change it to this thing. I don't know why it is doing this, but let me just minimize. Yeah, it sorted it out. So as you can see here, so as soon as I clicked on this white thing, it created a 4-digit code. And as you can see here, this is the message which I am sending in through the signaler. So I just use this special character so that I can split when it goes there. As I said, if you want this to be very much in a sophisticated manner, you can break this down to into a JSON into a JSON string, and you can read and you can properly send whatever the object parameters and stuff like that if you want to. But I was lazy, guys, in order to be frank, so I just send it as a string with with a special unique character, so that I can just split it out and get the info one by one. And I know the structure will always remain the same, that's why I did this. But yeah, in a good way, in a good in a project, I would have definitely not gone with this. I would have created a proper, I would have done this in a proper way. But yeah, in this scenario, it's just a string for me. I'm sending the string. So as you can see, what am I sending? That, okay, this is the unique code, and this is the white piece player, and this is that is Sushil Chaudhary. And I have opened one more tab here. um let's do this again. So let me just keep it side by side, guys, so that we can do this from the start. So okay, I'm at you know play online. Now I clicked on this 4xk, and like I got a unique code. And as you can see here, I have a message here like 4x and white piece player Sushil Chaudhary. And as you can see, the same thing is already here, like 4x and white piece player Sushil Chaudhary. Now I can just go ahead and copy this and paste it here. And as you can see, the name populated here in the black also, it got populated because I have written a code that if you are the opposite player, take your logged in username and you update it. For example, if Dhruvin would have logged in and you would have clicked the black, means Dhruvin's name would have come here. But as it is both me, that's why it's both Sushil. But I can show you by changing the name. So if I say this is Sushi, and as you can see on top here, let me just maximize it. And as you can see, automatically the name changed here. Why that happened is because as you can see on top here, I'm sending a message for XKN white player sushi, and here I'm receiving the same thing here for XKN white player sushi. And when I have written the code on change of the signal R PCF component, that if the code matches, then whatever the third, and if it's whatever the player, you can find out like white piece player or black piece player, you can get that, and whatever at the end thing is there is the name. So as the code matches, and white piece player, as I updated it from sushi to sushi, here also it got sushi. And now in the black side of the things, I'll go ahead and say it is Druvin. Okay, now as you can see, the message changed. So for XKN black please player Druvin. So same thing happened here. So as you can see, the message without any delay or whatnot, because it's a WebSocket, it's a real-time communication. As soon as it generated the message, it got here and the names got updated here. So yeah, once okay, we know that we have the proper code and we can just go ahead and log in and play the game. So all you need to do is like go and go here. So as you can see, on the left hand side, this is the white piece player, and on the black hand side, this is the black piece player. And as you can see, I can't select anything. If you would have seen my earlier, in the earlier episode, you would have understood that we only allow them to select when it's your turn to make the move or something like that. Now, as you can see, I can't even select anything. I can't even see the pointer icon. Why? Because it's not the black turns move, it's the white piece move. And as you can see, as soon as I got into the white piece side, I got the pointer icon. And as you can see on the bottom, again, I don't get the pointer icon because it's not the black piece. So here also it's the same logic. So if I do this, like okay, if I make this here from here to here, as you can see, as soon as I moved the pawn piece from A2 to A4, it did the same thing, A2 to A4. Why? Because as you can see here, I'm sending this, similar kind of in a similar kind of format, that this particular piece ID and what is the piece color has to change from A2 to A4. So, okay, but where do I do all these updates? As I said already, that if I go to the and in this screen also I have a SignalR function, and if I go to the SignalR function on change, I'm doing all those activities. I'm checking if the code is the same thing, because if two players are playing here and another two players are playing, and if the message is coming from a different system, I don't want to process that. I only want to process when the code is same. So I'm checking, okay, if the code is same, then I'm finding out which piece he wanted to move, and I'm just, as discussed in the last video, I'm just updating the collection, and I'm updating the next. Okay, your move is done. Now the next move is with the black player or the white player. So as simple as that, guys. This is far more simple. Here we are not using functions or anything. Yeah, obviously functions are being used when you select to determine whatever your potential moves and whatever your next moves. But in order to update the next, guys, it's just taking, okay, whatever he has done, and we are just updating it. So in order to just continue and show you the example, a little bit further more. So sorry, let me just play this and do the thing again. So as you can see, I moved it. Now it's the black piece turn. So as you can see on the black side, I can now select the things, and it's the same thing. Now, as you can see, so, automatically it went from here to here, and now I'll select this from here to here. And as you can see, it updated or within like a fraction of a second or something like that. And we have defeated one piece. So it's as you can see, it's the same. It's the same logic that you select it, you send it, and you play accordingly. But how we are doing all these things is with this SignalR message, nothing more, nothing less. We are getting that SignalR message, and we are playing, we are dissecting this string and getting all the parameters, and we are processing the collection, or we are making whatever moves we have to make. This is happening because on change. Why on change is being triggered? Because whenever a message, like whenever we get a new message, the on change will trigger, and we can go ahead and make them make whatever actions which you want to make. As simple as that, guys. So if I have to just summarize the whole thing which we have done, if I go back to this thing again, SignalR is there, Azure function is there, PCF is sending a message, PCF is receiving a message, and once received on change of this PCF, we are doing whatever the activity which we are doing. So the key thing is getting this, sending the message and getting the message. If you are, if you know if you got this, if you got this right, then it's up to you. You can go ahead and do wonders now. Like as I said, if you want to make a chatbot or chat application that needs to be real time, not even a fraction of a delay, or your for your emergency services, or wherever the situation demands that you can't have delays and it should happen very quickly within fraction of seconds or seconds, uh, this is the way to go. I hope
Yes,
you have. Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yep, absolutely. So it's an amazing presentation. Sushil, like the very good use case of using SignalR plus Azure Function plus PCF all together into one application. It's rare to see this combination, and you have explained it very well. So hopefully everyone understands from it. And yeah, I can really see the potential of this specific PCF component itself. Like maybe I'm thinking right now in my mind that in some of my customer are requesting that okay, I have one Dataverse form, and probably at the same time other people also open the same Dataverse form. Maybe I want to show somewhere in the form or indicate something in the form that okay, who has opened the same form at the same time. Maybe I can use the same concept,
Yeah.
because ultimately out of the box way it's very difficult to achieve this kind of scenario. But with this integration I'm seeing lots of capability around that. And maybe if anyone also know other use cases, please enter into chat window or maybe in the comment section. We are happy to hear from you guys. But yeah, thanks a lot, Sushil, for going through this entire series, and it come up as a very nice one. And yes, absolutely, people learn a lot. More from this particular series. Also, if you guys want to learn any specific part or do not understand any specific thing, just add your things into comment section or maybe connect Social on his LinkedIn account. I'm posting all his social media detail in the description box. You can always check it out, and all the GitHub solutions also available in the description box, so you can always check it out over there. All right. So before we wrap up, Sushil, anything else you want to share with our audience? You're good.
No, guys, keep building wonderful power apps, rock the power platform world. Just do it.
Yep. Yep. And if you want more session from the Sushil in upcoming time, just do out the comment that okay, we want something from Sushil. I would like to request him to come again, and we'll show something, definitely another cool thing he has built upon. And definitely it will helpful for you for more concept learning or more advanced way of building the low code applications. All right, so with this, I would like to finish or wrap up this particular session. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching, and thanks a lot, Social, for your valuable time to showcase these two community.
The
Thanks you
pleasure
so
is mine,
much.
Ruben. Thank you.